Good afternoon. We're here for the final of the Cary Cup, sponsored by Butterfly. And we're seeing here the first points for Junhan against Jishan Liang. And those of you listening to us for the semi-finals, you'll have heard that Mr. Jimmy Butler sat here with us. He was educating Al Her for the semi-final, and now he's here educating me for the final. So how do you think this is going to go, Jimmy?
Well, great to be here with you. Great to be here with you, Simon, today. Well, I just got information that Junhan Wu just got here recently from China, because I hadn't seen him before, and I was super impressed with his game in the semifinals and what he was able to do. So he's a well-oiled machine. Been training full-time in China, just got here recently. So that's how we get the opportunity to watch him today. And Liang, we know what he can do. We watched him in the round for the quarters, and the semis. He's certainly capable of giving Wu a good match, but Wu's definitely the favorite from what I've seen so far.
And that really makes a big difference, doesn't it, for the US-based Chinese players, that they don't get that training that they had when they were younger in China, where it's constant, correct?
The key is it has to be constant. And generally when the Chinese come over, they start doing a lot of coaching for their living, and they don't practice as much. If they come straight from China, you know they've been playing about 6 hours a day. They're in full-time professional training and competing mode. And I think you saw that in the semis, where Caden was certainly capable of the shot making that Wu had, but he made so many unforced errors. That's what was the difference in the match. So you just don't see many unforced errors from Wu. It takes that kind of shot from Liang to win a point against him each and every time, and I think that's going to be the difference in this match. Can Liang keep the unforced errors down and play that kind of shot making throughout the match? Because that's what Wu's going to send at you.
Absolutely.
Well, that's just excellent play by Liang there. I mean, Wu was able to handle his opening with quite a bit of speed and power, but Liang answered, and that's what he's going to have to do so far in this first game. He's able to keep up with them.
Would you say that Liang's going to have to keep his loops a lot more defensively towards Wu's shoulders, and the other guys maybe going to open up a bit more?
Precisely. Placement's going to be key for Liang. He's got to make Wu uncomfortable, to get him in his middle when he can, play wide out to the corners. But more than that, he's got to eliminate the kind of mistakes you saw right there.
Right,
that he can't do, because Wu's not going to do that very often.
So it's 5-4, and the opening exchange has been fairly even, but...
Wow!
Beautiful shot.
And all you can do is look at Wu and just give him a thumbs up, because that was a decent receive there.
Uh-huh. Very, very wide to the outside. Tremendous shot.
And for everyone watching out there, one of the most important aspects of table tennis is the serve, the receive, and the third ball. The reason I say that is these guys are so good, you don't get past that very often. If you notice here, you haven't seen any rallies yet, because these guys are so good at the serve, the receive, and the opening. So for all the Americans out there training, and for all the people trying to get better, you better do buckets of serving, buckets of balls of serving and receiving, or you're never even going to get into a rally with these guys. Look at that.
And it was only a few years ago that we changed to this, first the bigger ball, now the plastic ball, the bigger ball being the bigger change. And that was actually, the ITTF did that to try and extend the rallies. But as techniques have moved on, of course, everybody wants to try and win on the third ball.
Oh, that's just an excellent placement block there by Liang. Wide out to Wu's backhand. Very difficult, because Wu opened into Liang's middle, and he was able to get that kind of angle with his backhand. It's an excellent play.
Seemed like Liang was stretching for that, been misplaced on it.
That banana opening is so effective in today's game. He was able to just spin the ball up.
Explain your explain the term banana opening for
The banana opening, they call it the banana flip in today's game, where these athletes go into close to the net on the receive, and they create that banana type motion where their wrist comes one direction and then fully the other direction, and you'll see them do it here, and we'll point it out. And it's a great way to open and take the, there it is right there.
Right.
That time Liang decided he wanted to go for an outright winner with the banana flip. Back when I played in the 80s and 90s, that shot didn't exist.
Absolutely. We Al and I were discussing that a little earlier. With that seemed to come in the game about 10 years ago. With Peter Korbel was the one that developed that, I believe.
You're right, and Korbel did play in the 90s because I used to play against him, but he was the only guy doing it, and now everyone's doing it. If you don't have that shot now, you're just at a disadvantage because it's an incredible way to open against any serve. And you saw what Liang did, even though he missed it. You can actually go in and rip outright winners with it.
Absolutely.
That shot didn't used to exist before, so it puts so much pressure on the server now. Because I can tell you, when I'm out there and I'm serving and I'm playing against these guys that have these big banana flips, I'm scared to serve sometimes. And so what it's done is it's made a lot more of us serve deep more often, which, by the way, I think Liang is going to have to do more to keep Wu off balance. Even if you lose the point when you serve deep, your opponent at least respects the fact you might serve
you
deep.
can.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I've always believed in the deep serve. You'll always see me do it a lot. It's quite effective. In fact, when I played Liang and even Feng from the USA, they tell me how good my serve is. Part of the reason it's good is because I serve deep so much, so they're afraid of the deep serve. Then when my serve's short, they don't know what's coming. You won't see them serve deep as often. That ball right there touched. Wu's pointing to the ground, telling
I think
the
that
umpires.
was on the side, though.
Exactly.
He was saying it was a side
well,
ball.
right now the umpires are giving it to Liang, so we'll see how this works out. Wu's going to protest. I personally thought the ball did go down.
I think it hit the side too myself.
But I will say this, the umpires rarely get that call right. I've had them called against me almost every time, and there's nothing you can do. The umpires aren't perfect, and Wu's going to have to live with that.
So 2-0 to Liang, having lost the first game, however. In all of Wu's games, he seems to have really pressured the opponent with his serves, just slightly varying them across the length of the table, the width of the table, just moving them slightly. I noticed with Caden, he kept coming across way over to his forehand side to open with the backhand, and Wu just moved them slightly. And the interesting thing was that when he finally didn't flip one, the
wow.
Tremendous point, tremendous backhand to finish that. The problem was when he didn't finally open one, the payoff for Wu was enormous with a phenomenal forehand right down his backhand. So it's as though he's forcing these things.
And I think the biggest difference between the final and the semi is Caden had the speed to keep up with Wu. You're going to notice that Liang is not quite as quick.
Right.
And Wu is so quick that Liang's having trouble keeping up with the speed. So far, you can just see he's a little bit outclassed in the points. He's just stumbling just to keep up with them. So we'll see what Liang is able to do and what kind of strategy he comes up with to try to offset that difference in speed, because they say in all sports speed kills. It definitely kills in table tennis. And so Liang's going to have to play crafty. I think he's going to have to do some creative things to offset that difference. And right there, see, he came in with a short, quick receive. He jammed the push. That was different than what we've seen him do previously on the receives. He's going to have to come up with that kind of decision making. He's going to have to be very creative because he's not going to be able to out-quick Wu.
Wu's recovery there was tremendous because he made the error on the serve and then recovered the point tremendously.
And that's just amazing table tennis.
Absolutely.
What he was able to do there is incredible. Liang played a great point.
Right.
And he acrobatically went down to the ground, stepped all the way to his backhand, and to make that kind of shot making. I mean, that's what China's able to do. You just don't see that very often.
Another very big backhand there from Wu.
The top players in the world from other countries other than China like to say, the Chinese are literally like gymnasts out there. Not only is their technique superior, but their bodies are like gymnasts.
Well, the selection process is so ginormous that, of course, when you have, over 1 billion people and everybody's playing, the top talent goes into this sport. Whereas elsewhere, to a certain degree, this happens in Europe, but if you are very athletic, you certainly have an advantage in the States if you come into this sport.
And we like to say here, China is to table tennis like America is to basketball.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
about how good they are. It's rare you see them lose, just like it's rare you'll see the Americans lose in basketball. That's how good they are.
It seemed to be an unforced error there from Liang.
Right now, Liang is just out of rhythm, getting
Right.
outclassed, outplayed. Very frustrating feeling. We've all had it out there. And I think he's ready
Me
to let
more
this
than you,
game
let
go.
me assure you.
We all feel it whatever level we are. And I think Jiang's preparing mentally for the next game.
Yeah. That was pretty evident with that return.
And again, the most impressive thing I see from Wu is there's just no unforced errors. There's no mistakes. If you pop it up, it's gone. And if you make a good shot, he still might deal with you.
Absolutely, as we saw in that point where he recovered after the serve-receive error. Popped the ball up, Liang attacked it, and there he was, counter-looping back.
Well, this is just some incredibly high-level table tennis we're witnessing right now at the Cary Cup. What a treat to have Wu here and to experience this kind of table tennis. I mean, his shot-making abilities on both sides is just fantastic to watch.
And we're very lucky to have you here, Jimmy, with the expert analysis is highly enlightening for both Al and myself.
Well, thank you. It's such a treat to be with all you guys, and for everyone watching, it's a treat to have you with us also. And let's see if Liang can come up with some crafty tactics here and lengthen this match a little bit.
Yeah, you can see the extra speed and the extra, like you said, consistency from Wu. Even when there's a slight error or a really good shot comes out from Liang, Wu's there to get it back, and that's not the same coming from the other direction, is it?
And when you sit here and you watch a player like Wu and how good he is, and then you talk about the Chinese national team and they're like at least 1.5 to 2 levels better,
Yes.
It makes you appreciate what kind of athletes China has.
That is interesting. We were saying earlier as well the difference when you watch the real top world class. This is one level below that, probably, maybe 2, possibly 1. And we've seen a couple of games today that were decided pretty much by unforced errors, and that just doesn't happen when you go into the Worlds. It's extremely rare, anyway.
With that being said, Wu is quite a player, and let me tell you, if he played Ma Long 10 times, he might win once.
Okay.
He's capable of beating him once. I can promise you that with that kind of game. But still, 1 out of 10. Ma Long's pretty good.
Absolutely.
Well, Liang with a 3-2 lead. So he's hanging in at the beginning of this game. Still a long way to go, but let's see if he can come up with receive here. Ouch. He sold out on that shot, and what you see right now is Liang's frustrated because he's been outclassed the first 2 games.
Right.
And what he's doing, and I've been there myself, is he's decided I'm just going to start powering everything because my only chance is just to play hard on everything like that. See the serve?
Yes.
Very aggressive.
Absolutely.
And if he can get hot, if Liang can get hot and get a string of points together playing with power, he has a chance to win. That's at least his thinking right now because you can see how he's playing.
And that's kind of what he did with Feng in his previous game. He really went for the big shots.
Correct.
And they went on.
Correct.
So he obviously does have that in his mental armory to go do that.
Well, it beats having guys just shoot bullets. You'd rather shoot the bullets even if they miss.
Uh-huh. Well, talking about bullets, we were describing your backhand as being able to go through plate glass, so I think you know a little about a few bullets.
That's certainly my weapon, and I've learned from playing with these guys, you better be able to have power in your game, or you're not going to beat any of these guys. I love that forehand technique. See how he accelerates forward.
Right.
He has incredible wrist speed. He's doing it so fast, it's hard to see from the television camera. But when these guys accelerate with their forehand, their wrist is accelerating as well, but it's so quick you can't see it. That's where they're getting the spin.
And the important thing to realize is that for younger people that may be watching that is they're accelerating through the ball. They're not accelerating before they reach the ball, which is a very common error with people learning to loop and loop drive at the beginning.
And you watch Wu, he never raises up with his body, something I'm guilty of and I'm trying to get out of my game. Watch his body. It always stays low and down. He never raises up. See how he stays low? And there you go.
Absolutely.
Gets the opportunity. His wrist has incredible speed and acceleration, but his arm goes perfectly forward. That's how they're able to do these kind of shots. That didn't used to exist in the 80s and 90s. The technique has changed. It's a lot of wrist and forward acceleration with the arm, and their bodies are down. So a lot of little nicky-nacky play now. It's just kind of serve, receive, miss, serve, receive, opening, miss. Aren't seeing any rallies. That's because Wu's controlling the table. He's totally shut Liang down. Liang can't do anything he wants to do.
So would you say that's a technical table tennis term, nicky-nacky?
I like the way you call it, so I'm going to copy that statement myself. Very nicky-nacky out there right now.
Nicky-nacky, man.
And Wu's better at the nicky-nacky than Liang. He's just simply better with the service and the receive, and that's why you're not seeing any rallies. See, there's another mistake. He misread the serve. And Wu.
This is looking like it's approaching to be a 3-0 game.
It's going to take something special for that to not come true. Let's see if Liang really bears down or if he's kind of giving up here. Let's watch what he does. Yeah, I thought he kind of played loose on that backhand. He's frustrated, and I don't blame him. I'd be too.
I believe he's. You have to play at the level to have the expectation of what comes back at you. So if you play for long periods of time and the ball doesn't come back to you because you're the best player, then suddenly you meet a guy that's getting them all back. There's an expectation issue that you have to overcome. And I believe Liang's in that place.
He definitely is. He kind of threw away those last 2 points. The last one he clearly threw away, but the one before, he kind of played hard the serve receive, and then when it came back, he just played a loose backhand. So he literally resigned that game. He's frustrated. We've all been there. He's outclassed. We've all been there too. And I think at this point, he's just hoping he wins a game. That's how when I'm down 3-0 and getting outclassed, I'm thinking, well, I just hope I win a game.
Let's just go for everything, eh?
You're happy if you go home with a game.
Right. So as we get to the climax of this, we'd like to thank Butterfly for putting on and sponsoring this tremendous tournament that happens every year. All the way back since, I believe, the first Cary Cup was somewhere around the 2003-2004 period, and we've been going ever since. And this has turned up into one of the top, I would say, top 3 or 4 tournaments in the USA every year.
Absolutely, and I'd like to say what a pleasure it was to come to Cary Cup and to say hi to Bowie Martin Sr., who I hadn't seen for 28 years.
Wow.
So what a treat for me to come to Cary Cup to see Bowie Martin Jr., but Bowie Martin Sr. I hadn't seen for 28 years, so this has been like a family reunion for me.
Absolutely wonderful. So senior you hadn't seen, you'd seen junior.
I
was surprised at that, yeah.
I had seen junior, but not senior. Here we are, 1-all.
It seems to me that point encapsulated. He gets the ball on that he wants to get on, but it comes back in a way and a form that he's not ready and expecting for.
You're exactly right. Liang's not used to this speed and this kind of game.
Right.
He doesn't have this level where he lives in New York. In fact, none of us do. And that's why Wu's right now wiping out the field, because we're not used to seeing this. He's playing at a level we don't play against on a daily basis.
Right.
Wu probably looks at us and says, wow, this is like when I used to play with the B and the C team. He's used
This
to
is high
playing
school.
That's right.
This is high
This
school.
is like, wow, did you see
Yes,
how Wu
the
recovered with that forehand and the wrist action perfectly forward, handled Liang's speed. Just incredible table tennis we're watching right now.
So 3-all, Liang hanging in for this fourth game, which may end up being the final game, but we'll have to hope and see.
Oh, beautiful shot.
Beautiful.
By Liang.
Leaned enough to make the space and then unloaded the forehand.
And Liang deserves a good cheer and clap from the crowd. He hasn't really had any of those moments the whole match, so good for him to get in a beautiful shot, take a 4-3 lead. He's been able to hang in at the beginning of the game up to 5, but that's usually when it gets away from him. Let's see if he can do something here. Beautiful.
Oh, tremendous table tennis. Recovered, re-looping shots. Awesome play.
That's probably the best rally we've seen of the match. So Liang has upped his game a little bit. He's playing more aggressive. He's really selling out. He has to. Oh, wow.
Something we were describing earlier is for people watching, the footwork is absolutely tremendous. These are top athletes. There's, you know, a lot of the general population of the USA don't see it that way, but these are top athletes, and their footwork is absolutely outstanding.
Anyone in the USA that doesn't think they're top athletes, this just means they haven't watched table tennis
Well,
before,
of
because
course,
they
yeah.
don't say that when they see it. You know, you look at these guys' legs and you look at their speed and what they're able to do. Anyone that actually watches the Cary Cup, they're not going to say that. It's only if they haven't seen our sport do they believe that.
Oh, absolutely. That's I'm talking the general population.
So just like that, Wu now has got a 6-5 lead because it's those little errors in the serve and the receive.
Wow. Oh, what a backhand.
So Liang takes the timeout because he has gone down 7-5, and this is the last game if he's not able to figure out how to regain the lead.
He's trying to break up the play a little bit, break up the flow. I think he lost 3 points on the run there.
He did, and what's interesting about this game is Liang has upped his level. This is the best we've seen him. He had a couple great rallies. He's made some amazing shots like that banana flip where he stepped around his forehand and made that winner.
Right.
And it seems like he should be up, and we look at the score, he's down 7-5. That's how good Wu is. We've been clapping, you know, you're hearing the crowd clapping for Liang this game. Seems like he should be up, and he's down 7-5. That Wu makes it look so easy.
Right. And it does seem it relatively seems fairly effortless when he reloops and counters and gets to those balls, and they all keep coming back with no unforced errors. And the other players have seemed a little forced in comparison. Like it is a heroic shot. Wu just seems smooth.
Yeah, our heroic shots are normal for Wu.
Precisely.
Look at that.
Oh,
Can you believe that?
there's the emphasis to the point right there. Wonderful play from Wu.
That's ridiculous. That's just a ridiculous shot right there. Beautiful. Good job by Liang.
Well set up and well emphasized.
Let's see if he can keep his cool and at least play every ball to the end. I don't want to see him give up. Make Wu earn this. Nice.
And again, anticipated the serve, stepped around, and beautiful backhand.
And there's the banana flip we talked about earlier in the
Yes.
match. That's the most deadly shot in the game on the receive. You've got to be able to do that as an athlete, because all these great athletes have that in their repertoire. Some do it a little better than others, but they're all doing it. And you can see the pressure it put on Wu there. Wow.
A wonderful response from Wu. Hitting an
just-
enormous backhand down Liang's forehand side.
I'm just so impressed with the fact that Wu just doesn't make any unforced errors. I mean, he doesn't miss a serve, he doesn't miss a receive. You make good receives, and if they're not perfect, he just rips it right by you. He's just an amazing athlete.
Well, do you think that with the level that he's at, it's a case where he's seen these serves before? In other words, Liang having left China, they're constantly on the front edge of development, and we've seen these plays before, as is shown in that point, as Yuhan Wu takes the Cary Cup for 2018.
Well, I take my hat off to Wu. I mean, what a player, what an athlete, what a treat to have him here at the Cary Cup. And I